She-Ra Cartoon Collection. I love She-Ra. I really do. I'm going to be honest with you, though. When I first started getting into Motu and I started watching everything, I watched all of Revelation, all of Revolution, went back, watched all of the original He-Man, then stopped, read every single comic book that had been released, then came back and watched She-Ra. And getting to about the second season of She-Ra, it started to stale on me pretty hard. It really did. There was I think it was the supporting cast. The supporting cast has always bothered me in She-Ra. And I don't like Hordak as much as I like Skeletor. So, I noticed a difference, is what I'm saying. I noticed a real difference in that show. The back art here, I already seen, aren't we getting, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if we're getting her. I know we've already got the Horde Trooper. Aren't we getting him? Has that kind of been made official now? I'm not 100% sure. And I'm not going to speculate as to whether or not it is. I'm just going to open this. I want to see it, and that's the way it is right now. And we have a lot to open, so let's see her. She's on the cartoon body, of course, for what we've been getting for these figures. Her arm seems solid. I was a little worried about that. That's the thing about these old figures. They don't have, this is it. This is the amount of movement they have. I'm one of those people that actually likes the double elbow and whatnot. I think it's actually important. I think we get a lot out of that double elbow because this is like the range of movement that you're going to get. But for a figure like this, kind of like a Superpowers line, these are very much trying to be what they were in the original. This is very much what they're doing. This is trying to replicate a figure as if you had bought this in the 1980s. So I don't exactly hold it to that kind of standard. It doesn't bother me too much that the movement is kind of old. And I will say that for what it's worth, the knees feel good and everything. We've got a decent amount of turn. I don't think you're going to have too much trouble getting her into any kind of poses. This cape, it's just like a ring here, and of course when you pop the head off or whatever, you could take this cape on and off. I would keep the cape on. It's a rubberish material, but it's as you can see, it's not going to get in your way, but it's also not going to do anything. We did that capes video specifically where I was talking about this, and it's weird to claim you want to modernize the figure and then not offer us, if nothing else, just a cloth cape. This kind of looks good, but it also feels very dated, and it's not going to allow us to do anything in terms of dynamic poses or anything like that. But this is her, man. This is She-Ra, 100%. The face is very good. Like, it's done very, very, very well. It very much looks like her. I like the hair. Nothing seems to be in her way. She's moving and everything. She came with her sword. And then people are going to say, and her shield. But like, no. She came with her sword. And I know immediately it's, oh, and her shield, but that's not true for this She-Ra. I like that they include both of them, but if you're going for, if you're making the argument that you wanted a cartoon She-Ra to put on your shelf, that's inaccurate. That is accurate. Because the sword, at least in the She-Ra cartoon, changes into different things. Including, there's actually an episode where she like turns her sword into a blanket. Like some ridiculous stuff. But it's good. This is a solid figure. I have no reason to hate this. The face is the biggest draw for me. Yes, the costume is actually very solid as well. This is the costume that we saw in the show, which is kind of important because the She-Ra figure that we've had in Origins up to this point, the multiple of them, have never actually been the cartoon She-Ra. They've been the mini comics She-Ra, And that's not the same thing. Kind of like how He-Man that we had all those years ago, those were mini comics He-Man. He-Man, He-Manses, He-Minses, whatever. He-Man-I, those were from, that's not the same idea. Every single one of the Origins figures, every figure that we got back in the 80s was not based on the cartoon. The cartoon was just kind of like a side universe. Every toy was more based, roughly, because that's even kind of getting into its own thing too, because like in the mini comics, sometimes you would get the figure and it wouldn't look like the figure in the mini comics or the character in the mini comics, but also it would not look like the character in the show. It would be its own thing altogether. Toys are kind of wild, and Motu is definitely one of those things that's kind of wild in terms of how stuck people get on it being authentic or whatever. Like canon, I guess, is what people do, and when they argue over the storyline and whatnot, it's different in every continuity. Like, that's one of the things I love about it, is that I don't like worlds shrinking in terms of Motu. I like it when it's bigger and bigger and bigger and vaster and vaster and vaster. And Motu does that with every release. It reinvents itself and reimagines aspects every single time. From the mini comic to the toy to the normal comic to the crossover comics to the show to the next show that came after it to the next show that came after that. Every time it's a reimagining and retelling. It's kind of like if you rolled this character in D&D, every time you play this character, even if you play it the same way, the stories and the attitude will be different as you play it. And that is actually how I see Motu. Every single new telling of Masters of the Universe is a new telling, and you kind of take it for what it is. Or you get super serious and you tie yourself down to classics and you don't allow anything else to write your headcanon. It's just classics and nothing else, and we can never have any other storylines or any other ideas. End of story. And that some people are very much like that. I'm not, and I don't intend to be. She-Ra, added to the shelf. I'm kind of thrilled with her. I actually think this is very, very solid.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.